ready for a funeral, and forget he promised the resurrection. So many of us love God with passion, and we may occasionally pray, but we forget to bring our intelligence, our ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills to the Word with us. See, we get so caught up in that mustard seed of faith. Anybody like mustard greens? I know I bet. I bet you cook a good, but I bet you cook a good pot of greens. I just feel that all in my spirit. I feel that in my spirit that you cook a good pot of greens. You know, you look at somebody and say, "Oh, I bet it's gonna go no good." Okay, I'm sorry. So, when last time I looked at greens, don't you get a whole bunch of them? Yeah. They come in what they call bunches, right? So, but one bunch can look like a lot, but what happens when it starts cooking now? It shrinks. Okay, follow me here. So, in order for you to get a whole lot of greens, you got to get a whole bunch of them. Bunches of bunches. Okay, follow me. So, is that mustard seed enough to do what you're asking God to produce in your life? Is that mustard seed going to be enough? That one small mustard seed going to be enough for you? So in order for you to be able to produce and acquire the things and do the things that God has for you, you got to plant that mustard seed. You got to water that mustard seed through worship. You got to put the sun on that mustard seed. You got to move anything around that will try to kill the mustard seed. So you got to move the weeds from around it, and then you got to water it again, and then you got to sunlight again, and then you got to move the weeds, and then you don't just end up with one green. You end up with bunches. And in order for you to have a whole lot of greens, you got to keep planting seeds, and you got to keep watering them. You got to stay in the Word. You got to show up for the Word. You got to worship. And one Sunday won't uproot the mess that you created. Come on.
Teaching real good.
So you can't just get in this Word when you need something. Come on. You can't just get in this Word when you're going through. You got to prepare to have a whole bunch of people that you need to feed. So I need more faith. And I need more worship. And I need more Word. And I need more water. And I need more of God. Amen. So you got to remain in faith. The second thing, in part number 2, the faith to receive. See, big faith begets something. So the first thing that big faith begets is provision. Now, if God so clothed the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, he will not much more clothe you, all you of little faith. Notice he didn't say, oh, you of no faith. He says, oh, you of little faith. So caught up in your painful season that you didn't notice you were winning. You so caught up in what you still looking for and wanting more, you don't notice you got to win. So you like your children who you keep talking about, y'all just so ungrateful. I put a roof over your head, didn't I? I fed you this morning, you still asking me for stuff. See what happens when you put yourself, think about it now. Think about it. You've been fussing at them kids, you cannot use that on them for the rest of the day. Just ungrateful. Because you're so focused on what I don't have yet, that you forget that you came from a mighty long way. That even if he never gave you another thing, baby, he delivered you out of some stuff. But we get so focused on what he still has yet to happen that the still steals your joy. The still, well, God, I steal, and then it stole your joy from you. Because you forget that he has been providing, and he continues to provide. And if you just keep waiting and trusting, then his promise won't fail. Amen. The world will end and cease before his word fails. Come on. Amen. So what you crying for? What you worried about? The promise is yours. Get in a position to receive it. Amen. Yes. Amen. So I had a student, I was teaching kindergarten for the past last 6 years, I was teaching kindergarten. I'm now a campus pastor at Hosanna Christian Academy. But when I was teaching kindergarten, there was this little boy who woke up from his nap. It was snack time. And he was crying and carrying on and just worried that the place where he sat didn't have a snack. Now, mind you, while they are taking their naps, I prepare the room for the snack. And I put snacks at every chair that has a person that sits there. Well, he wakes up all discombobulated and he sits down at a chair and he crying and crying and crying. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I don't have a snack. I said, well, have you figured out that you ain't in the right seat? That if you get to your seat, there is a snack waiting for you over there. But you so busy thinking you're missing it that you don't realize a way was already made. You just need to get over there. That was good to me. You crying because you're looking. He was looking at the table, everybody else around him eating, and he crying because he's not eating because you're in the wrong seat. Good stuff. His snack was on the other side of the room. And in order for him to receive his snack, he had to walk to it. Make it plain. You want God. But what a man that ain't never left your house. You must go work for UPS and order some stuff from Amazon and see if he show up. I'm praying for my Boaz, and you gonna listen to Naomi. We'll catch that tomorrow. And so, everything that you need is at a place where you gotta go get it. So I told him, baby, come on, Miss Austin, come on, get up. No, I didn't. Boy, if you don't get up, wipe your face, and quit that crying, you're sitting over there. You're in the wrong seat. Y'all like sweet baby Jesus. Y'all like sweet baby Jesus. I'm friends with the turtle tiny Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus is cute, but sometimes, First Lady, you're going to have to turn some tables up. Girl, get up. I told you not to call him back last week. I'm not going to keep coming over here because you know he's going to break your heart. So I have to use the turnover table Jesus to get him to dry his eyes and walk into the things that he's crying for. Walk into the thing that she's crying for. They was at the tomb crying, and the angel said Jesus was already in Galilee. He was already prepared away. It was at the place where he promised. You looking for him at the dead place, and he's already prepared and was headed to the promised place. So you're crying at the tomb, but he's already at the promise. Now, I used to think that if God can be God, then why didn't he just let them fly over the angels? Why too much Disney? Too much Disney to do that too. Why when the angels left, they could just leave and go to the promise? He said, because along the way, there was a process to the promise.
Yeah, process. Now, that'll preach by itself.
And if you stall the progress, you stop the process.
Yeah.
And so, if he would have just gave them the promise, they wouldn't be able to recollect in a time of desperation and need what it took to get the promise. See, I know once that little boy got out of his seat, he did not move until every ounce of his neck was gone. Why? Because he knew what it felt like to not have one. He knew what it felt like to be crying and looking around at everybody else. So as soon as he got to what was promised and what was his, he wouldn't dare somebody, I dare you to touch it. Don't even look his way. When I send another little kid around to go pick up snack papers, baby, don't look over there. He started growling at her. He liked to growl. I don't know what that was about. So the little girl come up close to him. Wow. He was protecting his snack. And he wouldn't dare anybody to come in and take what was his. When are are you going to use your power and authority to dare the devil? I dare you to come over here. Y'all want to use little cute Jesus. That's cute. Cute little baby Jesus with the star and the mantle. That's cute. But Jesus grew up. And he went over and they was tearing up the temple. They out here gambling and all kind of stuff. And turning the tables over. This is the place where God dwells. The audacity of you. Amen. I need I'm going to say this. No, I ain't going to say that because church people, y'all get too deep. I need the Jesus that had a conversation with that woman at that well and he knew she wasn't married. He knew she wasn't married, but that's the kind of Jesus I be walking with. I mean, where your husband? Well, you know what, Jesus, I ain't really married. He said, I know. And the vibe you had before that when you was the Jesus that has the audacity to call you out of some stuff. Matter of fact, he ain't called her out, he yanked her out. What are you going to do? He didn't even give her a chance to go back the way she came. What are you going to do? And who are you going to remove to be able to receive what's already yours?
Yes. You say that again. Wow.
I would if I remember it. What are you going to do? And who are you going to remove to receive what's yours? That's it right there. So, another thing that'll mess us up is permission. We forget that we've already been given permission to possess. We get so focused on the devil that we forget he doesn't have permission.
None. Unless you give it to
So, unless he asks permission, he can't do anything to you. You remember Job? Yes. Devil walking around, walking back and forth, trying to see who he can mess up. You consider Job? Well, I can't do nothing to him because you got a hedge over him. Yes. Even when giving permission, he could only go so far. Right. He can only go so far. He can only go so far. Because he has no authority. He lost the keys. Anybody with authority that doesn't have authority has been asked permission. You have been given power and authority to tread over him, and yet you standing at the door asking him, can you get into somewhere you already have access to? It's already yours. I just need you to grow up and get it. I just need you to walk into it. I just need you to be in a position to receive it. And yet you asking, well, what's the devil? That's what happens when you be crying and depressed and don't want to go to church and don't want to serve. Mr. Devil, can I get up today? Mr. Devil, you think I can get out of my bed and let this depression leave me? When you allow the enemy to unwrap it in your house, and you allow desperation and depression and financial things to be able to dictate how you move, that's you giving the keys to somebody who had already lost them. You have the power and authority to get up. I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care who isn't there. I don't care how many times you have to cry. Get up and walk. Get up and walk. It's your season to win. And so you got to have, point number 3, the audacity to run. The enemy has some stalling strategies. 1, intimidate your future. 2, interrogate your promise. 3, irritate your way. 4, infiltrate your thoughts. And 5, invade your mouth. But believe anyway. Amen. Romans 4:18 said, we call Abraham father, not because he got God's attention by living life like a saint, but because God made something out of the Abraham when he was nobody. Isn't that what we have always read in Scripture? God saying to Abraham, I set you up as a father of many people. Abraham was first named father, and then became a father because he adored to dare to trust God to do what only God could do. Raise the dead to life with the word, making something out of nothing. When everything was hopeless, Abraham believed anyway. When everything was hopeless, Abraham believed anyway. You have to believe anyway. I don't care what's happening, believe anyway. I don't care who else doesn't believe anyway. Amen. When everything was hopeless, Scripture said Abraham still believed. Yes. I still believe God. Yes. He decided to live not on the basis of what he saw. He couldn't do, but on what God said he would do. Not on the basis of what he saw he couldn't do, but believing in what God said he could do. So you have to have the audacity to believe despite what your natural eyes see, and have a spiritual eye that says, though there is an inner self now, yet will I trust him. Though they are talking about me, yet will I trust him. Though it doesn't look like I don't know how I'm coming out, yet will I trust him. Not knowing, but trusting. Can't see, but trusting. Blind, but I can hear a voice that says the promise is mine. Yet will I trust God. And so as I close, I'm reminded of a story with a young man by the name of Joseph. And Joseph had been given a vision by God in a dream, and he woke up to go and tell everybody what he saw. This dream, this season that was going to take place in his life, began to cause people to kind of look at him side-eyed, to think that he was better than everybody else. And so his brothers ended up selling him into slavery for what was probably known as, in our time, $17. And they threw him in a pit. They threw him in a pit, and then they waited for the people to come to take him and possess him. And then he went to Potiphar's house. And while he was in Potiphar's house, Potiphar, little fast wife, because they said, little hot wife. You need to picture me out. Little hot wife was over there, and she lied on him, but he still remembered the promise. And ended up putting him in jail. And while he was in jail, he walked in his power and authority. And he ended up translated some dreams for the people there. And he told them what would happen to their lives. And he said, now when you get out, because you're going to get free, remember my name. And they forgot, but he still remembered the promise. Till it got to a point that now he's standing before Pharaoh, and he's the only one, because he's been walking in that power and authority, who could interpret the dreams and tell them how to set up the kingdom, and he remembered the promise. And so when eventually it took 42 chapters for him to see what he saw. But you would never see in the scripture where he altered his vision based upon where he was. He didn't change what he saw. He remembered the promise. He went in a pit. It was dark. He was in a dark place, and it was lonely, and it was isolated, but he remembered the promise. He went into a foreign land around people that he had no clue of who they were, but he remembered the promise. They lied on his name, and he kept his integrity because he remembered the promise. He went to the jailhouse and was locked up because he had a promise, but he kept a hold of the promise. He talked to some people in there, and he freed them from their desperation and their situation by walking in his power and authority, and they forgot to mention his name, but he kept hold of the promise. He stood before Pharaoh in his power and authority, and he kept hold to his promise. He saw his brothers, and though he had to war with their forgiveness, he forgave them, and then he saw the promise manifest. Amen. Because you can drop me in the pit and I'll still win. You can lie on my name and I'll still win. You can forget about me and I'll still win. You can talk about me and I'll still win. You can forget that I the scripture, but you will find, and God was with Joseph. Every transition that his life took, it ends by saying, and God was with Joseph.
Yes. Yes. Yes, he was.
Look at the scripture. It says, and God was with Joseph.
Yes.
As long as God is with you, nothing else matters. All I need to know is that he's with me. And as long as he's with me, and he is leading me, and he is guiding me, this is the confidence that I have in him. 1 John 5:14. That